All right, the First Responder Bowl. This is a annual bowl. Usually they call it the Bell Helicopters Bowl, Armed Forces Bowl, I believe, or I think the Armed Forces Bowl might be something else. No, I think this used to be the
First
Armed
responder.
Forces Bowl, and I think now they just changed the name, and now it's the
Yeah.
Armed Forces Bowl is earlier, Missouri Army.
Yeah.
So this is the First Responder Bowl, is a different one. See, it's hard to keep these bowl names
Oh, I know.
straight. There's so many of them, different
Toilet
sponsors.
bowl.
Yeah. Freaking Zaxby's Bowl, Heart of Dallas. I don't think they even have that anymore. The Heart of Dallas Bowl. I remember that was a few years there. It's endless at bowl season. All right, First Responder Bowl. This is in Dallas. This is at the old, I believe. This is at Gerald J. Ford Stadium in Dallas. So Louisville and Air Force. We've got Louisville 1.5 point favorites here. 54.5 the total in this game. It's obviously an Air Force team that, some of these service academies do pretty well, in the bowl season. I find Army has often been a bet-on team. We talked about, I think both of us kind of like Army against Missouri in the earlier bowl game. Air Force here in this one, and I like the way they finished down the stretch. Had a pretty solid season once again. 9-3 overall. The key is obviously going to be the Louisville run defense. Is it going to be capable of measuring up here against a triple option offense? Well, when you look at Louisville, overall, just 4.5 yards per carry, 157 rushing yards per game, but the last three, not good with their run defense. They gave up over 227 rushing yards and 5.8 yards per carry. So that worries you for Louisville. If your run defense has got some issues, are you going to be able to measure up and match up here against Air Force? That ends up being the question here in this bowl game when you look at it. As far as no real breaking news here in this bowl game in terms of opt-outs. So this could be a full-strength Louisville team for sure going into this matchup here against Air Force. The one issue you would concern yourself with Air Force is, who have they played this year? It's, they played Utah State, and they lost that game, and Boise's kind of been up and down, San Diego State, but they haven't necessarily been playing terrific competition this year. They do have a nice win against Nevada. Give them credit for that. Army as well. They played them and lost in overtime 21-14. This is a tricky one because, certainly there's a speed edge. There's certainly a talent advantage for Louisville. And certainly the playmaking ability of, Malik Cunningham certainly could be problematic here for the Air Force defense. But I know we said this a lot about Air Force during the year, CMAC, and that their run defense is actually not bad at all. It's pretty good. And Louisville is such a run-heavy offense. It's the secondary. It's the quarterback with the strong arm. It's the passing game, the explosive, dynamic, vertical passing game that really causes Air Force's defense problems. I'm not sure if that's the type of offense Louisville is. So I'm actually maybe looking to make a case here for Air Force in this game. Just my initial lean on it. What do you think here, Connor? Louisville Air Force.
This is like the ultimate pass on a bowl game. I know we got to talk about all these games, but Air Force was pretty good this year. Like you talked about, the win against Boise, and they had some close losses, like you mentioned, Army and those. They won their last three. A lot of points in those last three with Air Force. They went on a string of unders. We think of Air Force, and then the last three games they were all 40, 30 something. Same thing with Louisville. The last couple with Duke and Kentucky, they got their ass whipped by Kentucky 52-21. Malik Cunningham, he takes care of the ball. I think they win. And this is back and forth. So how these teams ended up, but it's so long ago, this could be a dead under. It's just one of these games. I have no real lean either way. I kind of lean Louisville, but Air Force has played well all year, and they could kind of surprise me all year. You mentioned, though, they did. I remember that early game with Utah State. They can get beat deep with the pass. So will Louisville throw it a lot? Who knows? Cunningham, not the most accurate guy, but, he's athletic, runs it, but he can be turnover prone. Just one I'm probably not going to play. And I'm so stuck on this total because I could see this dead under. This team, an old Air Force, run it. It just stays under, or we just start seeing points. Tackling's a problem here in this bowl game. The kids don't give a shit. And we start to see a back and forth high one. So, tough one for me here.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the spots in bowl games where the team facing triple option offenses are supposed to do well because you have the extra time to prepare the practices.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work that way. We've seen Army and Navy and Air Force in years past really do well in bowl games. So it's something to factor in. One bet I might look at, I want to throw out an Air Force team total over. I think that could be something to look at here because it's 20 4.5, I believe, in this game. The team total here for 27.5 actually, with the Air Force team total. You look at the points they put up: 45 against Utah State, 31 against Florida Atlantic, 38 against New Mexico. They fell just short against Boise and Wyoming, but two pretty decent run defenses there and they still put up 24. The ones they got shut down and they lost were San Diego State, who are really good against the run, and Army, who sees the triple option offense every day in practice. That's what they do. They know how to defend it. So those were the games they got shut down. Then they got back into the Mountain West play at the end of the year, Air Force, and they scored 35 against Colorado State, 41 against Nevada, 48 against UNLV. Again, these run defense numbers aren't great for Louisville. So that could be in play, that Air Force team total, in my opinion. Over 27.5. They could get to 28 plus in this game. That might be something I look at more than not have to guess what Air Force does defensively against Louisville on the offensive side. That's what the good thing is.
That defense is shaky. Total. You know, like I was just saying, can they play well? They played well at times against other teams that run it, like you mentioned, like a San Diego State. It's a 20-14 or Army. But if they see a little different offense that can move it, throw it, maybe some trick plays, I think this can get over and Louisville can score as well. So that defense could give it up.
Yeah, it definitely could. It's really a lot of this handicap, and Connor and I are alluding to it, might come down to what Louisville does or does not do offensively in terms of the side and the total in this game.